Okay, we've got an opportunity to not do a retest, but add to the test. The driving test that I did on the motorway, motorway simulation, where I got 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. Basically, what I found in a lot of the comments was I was unable to describe exactly how enthusiastic or exactly what speed I was driving at. And therefore I thought today, since I happen to be heading on exactly the same route, I would do something more precise. So today what I'm going to do is take the same route, but I'm going to reset the trip meter when I get to the dual carriageway. So none of the pulling out of the driveway, none of the slow 30-mile-an-hour roads. We're going to have just the dual carriageway driving, and I'm not going to drive as enthusiastically as before, as assertively, aggressively, shall we say. So no really hard acceleration. I'm also going to set a speed limit of the speed limit, 70 miles an hour. So my plan, I'm going to overtake things that are doing under 60 or 60 to 65, but I'm going to keep to this speed limit, and I'm going to keep up with traffic. So it's going to be a more leisurely drive, less enthusiastic overtaking than I had before, what I would describe as more normal motorway driving, or perhaps how you should be driving on a motorway. I know people like to go hell for leather, and I guess that's your choice, that's what you want to do. But if for as many people have said, you know, driving speeds of 120, 130 kilometers an hour or more, or 85 miles an hour, there are as many people that drive at 65 to 70 miles an hour on a motorway and want to know the efficiency that the car will get there. So what I'm interested in is the difference. So if I knock the speed off a bit, if I'm a little less enthusiastic on the acceleration, not an eco trip for certain, not trying to hypermile, not trying to get the most economy I can, just driving normally, sensibly, to the speed limit, not driving slow, definitely overtaking anything slow that's out there. That's the plan, and I want to see what result we actually get. What I'm hoping for a better result than 3.4. 3.4 I thought was actually quite low. I was expecting about 4. I've heard quite a few people saying that they're driving their Kona Electrics on motorways, keeping up with traffic, and they're getting 4, maybe even up to 4.3. So yeah, not sure how they're doing that when I saw what I was doing, but you know, perhaps it's the speed that I was doing. Perhaps it's the assertive acceleration that I was doing, certainly out of every junction, every roundabout. So if I knock that off, we'll see the difference, and hopefully over time, with lots of tests like this, we can gain a full picture of what it's like to drive the Kona Electric and what efficiency you can get. Now, yeah, some people aren't interested in efficiency, but they are interested in range. Obviously the two go side by side. If you drive enthusiastically, as I did before, you might have 200-mile range. If you knock the speed off a bit and go a bit more leisurely, you might get 250-mile range. And if you drive nice and sensibly and don't take the dual carriageways and keep the speed down, you can get over 300 miles, which is what I've proved. I haven't done a test yet of actually driving those 300 miles. That was an indicated range test. So yeah, that's something that I need to do, isn't it? I need to go out and drive 300 miles and see if the car can really do it. And I'm sort of running out of time, because the weather conditions are just going to get worse and worse. It's going to get colder. It's going to get more difficult probably to get 300 miles out of the car. But we'll only know when we try. So that's something I definitely want to do. Anyway, over to the trip, and then I'll put the stats up and let you know. In the first motorway test, we managed to get the correct miles per kilowatt hour inside the first 20 miles. So this should be pretty accurate. 32 miles travelled in exactly 30 minutes. So that's an average of 64 miles an hour. So that's 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, a whole 0.4 miles per kilowatt hour better. That's about 10% or more improvement, so pretty good for knocking off just 5 to 10 miles an hour off the top speed, and a little less assertive acceleration too. And lastly, the heater was on as before, temperature outside was 16 degrees C and the roads were dry. Okay, and finally, on the trip back, on the same roads again, I knocked another 5 miles an hour off the top speed, so cruising around 60 to 65 miles an hour this time. So if my maths is correct, over the 34.5 mile trip in 36 minutes, that's an average of 57.5 miles an hour. Coincidentally, exactly the same as what the first test was, including all the extra bits. And this time, the miles per kilowatt hour were 4.1, another almost 10% improvement, so that's pretty good for just knocking off another 5 miles an hour. And again, lastly, the heater was on as before. Temperature though was between 9 and 11 degrees. So maybe that 6-7 degree difference was what brought about the 0.1 difference in the efficiency gained. And range-wise, with 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, it's a much more respectable 243 miles. But with 262 mile range, I think I'd prefer to drive with a little less speed and get the 4.1 or above miles per kilowatt hour. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, yeah, go on, click the icon. Please subscribe. It's great to have you on board. And thanks for following the journey. See you again soon, everyone. Bye for now.